Boogie Lou's here at the Cuban Assassin, Richie Acevedo, watching his film Boxer versus Wrestler. How'd all this come about?
Well, this concept came about with me wanting to make fun of the wrestling business,
Okay,
and the character Rotten Ronnie is kind of based upon three different characters.
okay,
One is based upon one of my mentors, Rotten Ron Starr.
okay.
Okay, the other one is the adult film star Ron Jeremy.
Okay, I can see that.
That's that yeah, and the other one is the voice of superstar Billy Graham.
Okay, and there's some scenes in this movie. You'll see some Ron Jeremy coming down the way. Okay, I like it. Whenever you said that, I said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. So everybody was trying to rib me about it, saying when I had the picture, said you look like Ron Jeremy, and I'm like, yes, and they thought I was fooling around. I was like, no, that's the actual idea. It's Rotten Ron Starr's collars, Rotten Ron Starr's wrestling style.
Okay,
The look of a guy and narcissistic and thinks of himself as the ultimate male, which is Ron Jeremy.
okay,
You know, and then with the voice and of superstar Billy Graham, because the Rotten Ronnie talked like this, Daddy. You see, I'm the number
mm-hmm.
one. That's the whole purpose of Rotten Ronnie. And I was making fun of the wrestling industry and how ridiculous it is, and how it come out. And I used actual wrestlers in the film, and I also got I'm trying to remember his name right off the bat. Jeremy. Uh, he was in the Walking Dead. Did a lot of the. He played the zombie in a lot of the Walking Dead in a couple episodes and stuff. He's also been an actor. Jeremy Ambler
Okay.
is in it. That's who it is. And the ring announcer there,
Mm-hmm.
that right there is Larry Orton, which he plays in my other movie, Oswald movie called Flight of the Patsy.
Okay.
He's the police investigator that's interviewing Lee Harvey Oswald.
Okay.
And Charlie Brown, the ring announcer there, he'd been in a couple of my movies, been in Legends Mountain, played Leo Burke, my other mentor, in the Cuban Assassin's documentary film, which that documentary film it's a documentary, and I did a few reenactments, and I played my dad in the reenactments,
Nice.
and then and with actual film footage and stuff like that. It's just try and make it similar to the ID channel
Heck.
type of shows that they have, because they have mixed, with the people doing the documentary, and then they do the other part
The
of
reenactments.
where they reenactment stuff, right?
I love it. Hey, we got a Jason
Mm-hmm.
Schaefer cameo in here. That's one thing I love about this film. A lot of folks that I know that are favorites on the channel are going to pop up. And how'd Schaefer get in on this?
Well, I asked him if he'd like to have a small part in it. I asked all the wrestlers. I mean, Jeff James, or Jeff Paul, if you want to call him, is in this.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Sweet.
he's, my son and my nephew's in it. Let's see, Brandon Ashworth's in it. Timothy Mann is in it. Uh, there's several people involved in this movie. I use uh, Huck, Huckabee. He's in it too. He's the boxer and part in this movie.
Okay.
Everybody always everybody thought, since I titled it Boxer versus Wrestler, they thought that it was based upon my own Boxer versus Wrestler match with Justin and Mercy Robertson, and that's not true.
Okay.
I used the concept of the Boxer versus Wrestler match to make fun of the wrestling industry of today. I was making fun of it and using and telling a little bit about the Boxing and Wrestling Athletic Commission. Now, in the past, the Wrestling and Boxing Athletic Commission used to have say and control over the wrestling industry. And today, it's different. It depends if you're an independent, which I think is wrong, because the WWE comes into Virginia or any state that has wrestling boxing license, they come in as a complete entertainment company, like a movie company.
Mm-hmm.
So the wrestlers don't have to be licensed
Mm-hmm.
under that thing, because that's where Vince McMahon created the term sports entertainment, that
Right
they're in
on.
the sport, they're in the entertainment business. But yet, as an independent, uh, promotion and stuff, you have to have license through the Wrestling Boxing Athletic Commission,
Okay.
and they're just taking money from the boys if it's considered an entertainment business, which it is. But I still call it pro wrestling because I look at it as an art form.
Right on. Couldn't agree more. Good
As you
point.
see,
Good.
yeah,
Good
as you
segue
see
there.
here,
Go ahead.
yeah, you're going to see here, you're going to see Jeremy Ambler, which is the Wrestling Boxing Athletic Commissioner there at the hat.
Okay.
He he's been an actor for quite a while. He lives in Shady Springs, West Virginia, and he is was mostly known for The Walking Dead and one of the I think Abraham Lincoln biography type of films. I mean, he's a controversial person as well in real life, but I never had a problem with him, and he happened to ask me if he can be in one of my film projects, and I said, "You got good timing." I said, "Because I actually need to fill a role for Boxer versus Wrestler. Would you be interested in this role?" And I sent him the script. I didn't send him the whole script. I just sent him a scene, and he read it, and he said, "Yeah, I'll do it." So
Heck yeah.
and he come down. I was so happy he was a part of it, and he and I are really good friends to this day. And first time I met him, he was doing because he goes around wrestling show any place that he can put up a table and sell his photographs. And but now you've seen Battle Roy here with everybody in it. You might see Benny
Yeah.
Conley's part of it. You'll see my son Quentin and my nephew Blake and
I think I see
uh,
Johnny Duff's in there, I believe. A young Johnny
that's
Duff.
yeah. Yeah, Johnny Duff. Yeah, he's in
Uh-huh.
it, and so is Crash Cassidy.
Yep. Crash
Is in
Cassidy
it. Yeah,
looking good. How cool. Very cool stuff.
yeah,
And I do want to point
yeah.
out to the viewers, if you want to hear this, we're going to link it in the description. It's on Cuban's channel. It's out there for the world to see, baby. And how many films had you shot at this point? How much did you have under your belt at this point?
See, here's the thing about Hollywood and get into the acting business.
Uh huh.
Everybody calls it Hollywood. I call it, the acting business.
Mm-hmm.
And acting business is consisted of theater work,
Okay.
commercial work, television, and also films. Okay,
Right on.
and so and I would add in politics at the top because they're all actors. They're not. They're
oh, yeah.
that's what their job is to do, is to tell a lie
Uh huh.
and get away with it. But I I but people have to understand. I was the first film I got to be booked on was called The Bounty Hunter War, but it has never been released yet.
Okay.
And the guy hasn't come up with enough money to finish off the project, and and everything, and so and I shot that. But the next project I got booked for was Mills versus Zombies with Fuzzy Monkey Films for Brad Twigg,
Okay.
which would lead me to Wrestle Massacre,
Okay.
and that those both was in 2014,
Okay.
and so I was started doing that, doing background feature roles and extra roles, and my next film I got onto would be the making of the Mob, New York, and I happened to get 4 words, and they used 2 of them in the scene,
Okay.
which made the cut in episode 5, called Exit Strategy,
Okay.
and the thing is, my very first film project wasn't in 2014. It was 1999 when I was on the 1999 Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling Legends Tour in Canada for Emile Dupree. His son Rene had casted on a children's television episode called Lunatics.
Okay.
And the title of that one is called The Extinct Rebel. And he plays a kid that's basically turned into a Bigfoot or werewolf-like creature,
Nice.
but really more of a Bigfoot. But he also has plans to be a pro wrestler, and they based it upon Grand Prix Wrestling. And they hired me on as one of the guys in there in the film project. And that was in 1999, and that was a 12-hour shoot. That was from 5 a.m. in the morning until 5 p.m. in the afternoon.
Ooh.
And of course, they provided lunch for us and snacks, and then Renee and I got back home, which was that was filmed in Cocan Arena in Cocan, New Brunswick, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And we were staying in Shediac, and of course Renee and them lived in Pointe du Chien. So Renee and I get back home, and Wildman Williams gets to his apartment, and I get to my apartment. We have enough time to shower and get something to eat, and we had to go straight back to the Cocan Arena because we're wrestling there that evening, just within a few hours. So I had to go back there, and Renee, myself, and Wildman Williams were dead tired.
I'm sure.
And then Emile has Renee and I going on in a 30-minute time limit draw of Broadway.
Oh wow. Okay.
And oh my gosh! And Renee, I remember Renee come bursting in our locker rooms. We're supposed to be kayfabe separate locker rooms, and comes out and sit beside me and goes, and gets right in my face. Did you hear my dad? What the cocksucker did? He wants us to do a 30-minute Broadway time limit draw. I was like, yeah, I heard. And he goes, what the fuck? We've been working. We worked 12 hours, and it's up 15 hours later. I haven't had any sleep.
Wonder whatever happened to that kid. Did he ever win a WWE Tag Team Championship and go on to do his own YouTube podcast by chance?
He sure did. Rene Dupree, still the youngest WWE champion in history, being tag team champion.
Yep.
In WWE, and he was a member of La Resistance, and he had his own Rene de Cafe talk segment they gave him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he left WWE, pressed for his own release in 2007, right after the Benoit scandal tragedy broke open. And Rene left. That's not the primary reason why he left. I don't want people to think he left because of the steroids or the tragedy of, he left primarily because he was addicted to drugs. And he didn't want to be around it anymore. Everything what he thought WWE was going to be was completely the opposite. And he knew that Vince wanted him around for a long period of time. He probably would have gotten a push later on if he had stuck. He's trying to get me into the WWE at that time. Mm-hmm. He wanted me to. He was trying to get me for them to bring me in, and he proposed an idea to Vince about he and I being together as a team.
Okay.
So that way I can travel with him and keep him away from all the drugs because he knows I don't do drugs.
Right on.
And I told him, and he knows I can. Hey, look, you see Johnny Youngblood there.
That's Johnny Youngblood. I thought I recognized. Yeah. I'll be okay.
Yeah, and the referee is Brandon Ashworth there.
Okay.
But he wanted me to help keep him away from all that and help get him cleaned out. And so he was doing something like Jake Roberts did, but Jake Roberts used his wife, and he was using me as his good friend, and because I known Rene since he was 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I started for Emile in 1989, started my wrestling career, and I knew Rene since he was a kid.
Okay.
And then 10 years later, I had to wrestle him, and he's a giant hulk of a man at 15.
Okay.
In the 1999 Grand Prix Legends Tour, he was 15 years old.
Wow.
But I worked with a lot of people have been around that was 15. They all became big names in WWE. And I worked with other people who became names in other places like TNA and WWE. I'm one of the few second generation wrestlers uh, that they never took under contract. And but people have to understand something. I never was trying to. When I started my wrestling career, there was no WWE. It was still a territory system when
Mm-hmm.
I started in 1989. The territories would be completely gone by uh, 93, around 93. And Paul Heyman, by that around that time, had changed Eastern Championship Wrestling to ECW Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Jim Cornette trying to get his his territory of a business, Smoky Mountain Wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
which was basically more or less covering the old ICW territory and All Star Wrestling territory.
Right on.
You see, there was an All Star Wrestling before Gary Damron ever
Oh yeah.
used. Yeah, there
Yeah.
was an actual territory in Knoxville, Tennessee that was an outlaw promotion that teamed up with ICW, and everybody keeps saying ICW was a territory, and they need to understand something. It was an outlaw territory,
Right on.
and what an outlaw territory, for those who don't know what that means, it means that during the territory days, you had these imaginary boundaries and lines, and a gentleman's handshake not to cross over their TV viewing area in the territory.
Mm-hmm.
And ICW, Angelo Poffo wanted stuff for his boys, for Leaper Lanny and Macho Man, and they it just came from the Mills Dupree's Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling, and Macho was the international heavyweight champion. Hence the word International Championship Wrestling. Hence the word Macho starting off as the international champion, which they later changed to World Heavyweight Champion for ICW, and they changed it to World because of the joint venture from two outlaw promotions, All Star Wrestling in Knoxville and ICW from Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
and they were strictly aiming targeted competition against the Memphis territory, and Macho Man would shoot actual challenges to Jerry the King Lawler on their TV, which viewed in their area.
Okay.
So Jerry Lawler and Jerry Jarrett had to do something, so they brought in the Poffos, and Randy just apologized to Jerry Lawler, for all those shoot challenges. now you
Look
now
at
you
this
see a
guy.
match here with young Jeff Paul.
That's a
You know,
young baby face Jeff Paul. I don't know what he's working heel or face, but that is a baby face if I ever saw one in the layman's terms, baby face. Oh my goodness. Look
yeah,
at him. Oh, how
Jeff
cute.
Paul, Jeff Paul, the modern day Brian Logan today.
No,
Uh,
I don't know if you'd like that analogy, but
I I don't care
I know you
if
don't care.
I don't care. Jeff is one.
I think
I
you
have
meant
a
it
lot
as
of
a
respect.
complimentary term.
No, I meant it as an insult too.
Oh, okay.
And Jeff is one of my favorite people in wrestling.
Same.
And I have all the respect in the world for what he's doing for himself and everything. But Jeff also has got the Brian Logan syndrome, as I call it, because
Uh,
Brian Logan's one of my favorite people to wrestle. One of my favorite people. I have all the respect for Brian Logan and everything. But nobody knows the story where Brian was trying to. It was actually. You have to understand. Brian Logan was told stuff that never was going to be, and they intentionally did it just so they can have him help work with and polish up their guys.
okay.
And it started off, Brian started off in Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Mm,
Okay. Then he would venture off into all these different other places because, there were still wrestling shows running everywhere. You had the birth of the independence, and you had some territories that were still in existence. And Brian was going between the combination of those, and then he got taken into WCW, World Championship Wrestling.
mm,
And they told him, because he looked a lot like Barry Windham, looked like a Windham.
okay.
And they made these promises to him about they want to bring him in as a Wyndham. And but he had to go, but told him he had to go to the power plant.
Okay.
Think about it. He's already went through a wrestling school in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. They bring him in, they're using him on their TV and everything, and they're making him look kind of strong. They did a lot of couple of guys like that, like Todd Morton, Bull Payne, and Bobby Blaze,
Mm-hmm.
and the Maestro,
Mm-hmm.
Robbie, and and then they make him go to the power plant, and basically they were just using him to help train and polish up all these other people
Okay.
at the power plant. And then Brian's like, why are they wasting his time here?
Okay.
So he kind of went off on them, and they told him the services was no longer needed,
Wow.
and then he left, and then he would go to help Jim Cornette with Ohio Valley Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Brian's thinking this is the chance because they have the developmental deal with the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, they're having him bringing in all the names to OVW, and he's working Undertaker. He's helped developing Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Dave Batista, John Cena, Charlie Haas, Shelton Benjamin, and then they put him on dark matches on WWF TV and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's actually on TV. He's on TV on some of their other shows. And again, more broken promises. And he changed his persona, leaving the Barry Windham look to being this Damien type character.
Okay.
And Brian invested himself in both these characters for both WCW and Ohio Valley Championship Wrestling and for WWF, because he was under the impression that he'll get bumped up with the these group here, the Sin group, which he was working with Jim Cornette's wife as his manager.
Okay.
And then he goes into WWF thinking they're going to bring them up to be disciples of Sin, to be like against Undertaker, because that's what they were doing on the Ohio Valley Championship test running it.
Okay.
And it was working. They had Leviathan in their group, which was Dave Batista.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, Vince was only interested in Dave Batista. So now here in this movie, just so people understand, Ronnie won the world title when he wasn't supposed to.
Okay.
He pinned the guy, won the world championship, and he knows he's got to drop the title, but he's just having fun, Ronnie. And you're going to find out that the wrestling boxing athletic commissioner is mad at the boxer because the boxer character Mustafa is based upon Mike Tyson.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and during the time Mike Tyson, he's knocking everybody out in his prime, and the reality is Mike didn't want to work with the boxing promoters. Tyson didn't want to waste time, because he was leading the pay-per-view. He was the king of the pay-per-views.
Right on.
And the only competition of Mike Tyson was wrestling.
Okay.
Okay, and but Mike Tyson dominated the pay-per-views back then, knocking people out, and the boxers and stuff got mad. That's why they sent him over to Japan. Here's a scene from Shirley Love from Saturday Night Wrestling I put in the movie. Shirley Love was supposed to do my movie, and when I was filming this, and Shirley wanted to do it, well, he got sick and he died.
I see.
He died from cancer, and so I wanted to make sure that Shirley Love was still part of this movie, and I put this scene in the movie, and I even gave him film credit for it.
Good on you. Good on you.
Yeah,
I like how you did that.
Because he wanted to be in the movie, so I made sure he was in the movie. And now you're going to see the boxing wrestling athletic commissioner and his guy there going to come up with a plan of trying to humiliate the pro boxer.
Gotcha.
And what they're going to do is they got this new thing called MMA coming onto the table, mixed martial arts, and they're trying to figure out how to promote MMA. And then he comes to this idea, and he sees Ronnie, and he's like, "Wait a minute, this is the guy who messed up my brother's career. My brother was a wrestler, state champion. He beat him and messed his whole life up. So now he's trying to get revenge on Ronnie and humiliate the boxer Mustafa. As you see, William Huckabee right there is Colonel Mustafa, not Colonel Mustafa, but it's Mustafa.
Okay.
Uh, Mustafa Kali is the character's name, and he's mad at the promoter because he's setting up the two boxing matches back to back without him having any training time.
Okay.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, I love that you said that this was your way to poke fun at the wrestling business because it's almost kind of shocking to me. Because the Cuban Assassin I know is a historian. He always wants to tell you about the history of the business. He wants to make sure the business is respected and that history is in place for future generations. So, my question is, what got Cuban Assassin to the point where he had to poke some fun and just had to get it out of the system, basically? Like, what was going on around this time in wrestling where you said, I've got to make some sort of statement here? Or was it
Well, it
even
was
that much?
no, it was an epidemic going on in 2020. Number one,
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll tell you something here in a second. But it was a pandemic, and but that was going on, and then all of a sudden, uh, the wrestling business, of course, they had to do it inside these screens and all this, the Thunderdome type
Yep.
of thing they want to call it, and then but over the years with wrestling, the person who won the wrestling war, and it's a shame, it wasn't the Crockett's who was trying to make it look like like a more of a legitimate sport
Hmm.
with the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, which Billy Corgan has just tore that down to shambles.
Yeah.
Um, that's why his group was called the Smashing Pumpkins. Um, and then he's Smashing Wrestling in NWA.
Fair enough.
Um, and then uh, the other person, which was Vern Gagne of the AWA, American Wrestling Association, was trying to make it look like more of an Olympic sport.
Right on.
You know,
I can see that.
that's that's why they used the red, white, and blue American colors. And if you and they were the ones that got on ESPN after World Class uh, got lost. But World Class and AWA both was on ESPN.
Hmm.
See, WWE is the third wrestling to be put on ESPN.
Okay. Yep.
And
You had global.
but yeah, World GWF, Global
Hmm.
Wrestling Federation,
Hmm.
they took the world class spot,
Okay.
world class championship wrestling, because Global was actually running from the Sportatorium.
Uh huh.
Okay, and that's where you got your tag team Ebony and Ivory, which later on is Harlem Heat and Booker T
Lightning
or King Book,
Kid.
Lightning Kid, which is 1, 2, 3 Kid. Yeah,
Jerry
you,
Lynn.
you,
You can, yeah,
Jerry
a
Lynn.
lot of
Yeah,
them.
Marcus Bagwell.
Yep. Super
They all.
underrated. Super underrated
Yeah.
promotion. I really like
Mhm.
their stuff.
Yeah, that was Lou Pedicino's type of deal.
Okay.
And Lou Pedicino used to be with the early version of WCW, Ted Turner.
Okay.
And they even had Mick Foley there,
Mm-hmm.
Cactus Jack,
Yep.
you know. But Mick Foley was also at the same time, was doing Eastern Championship Wrestling, ECW.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, I was just making fun because the person who won when it should have been either the Crockett's, Vern Gagne, or Fritz Von Erich, you know, and they didn't win. Vince won, and Vince was the cartoon company.
Yep. There's no getting around that.
So the cartoon company beat the guys that were trying to make it look like a sport, a professional sport.
The tough guys, if you
And
will.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, and here I am with some lovely ladies here in the hot tub with not me, Ronnie's in there. That's far from the truth of me. If in
Hey,
any
man.
way, shape, or form, if I jump in the hot tub, the girls scatter, like roaches. So,
Hey, man. Hey.
and and but plus I have mama's boy shyness to me. I could never be around.
I hear
You
you.
know,
I'm there
you
with
know
you. It reminds
You
me
know,
of
so
I don't know if you watch Paul Naschy films, but he made Spanish horror, and he was always
yes,
he was
yeah,
making sure he was
yeah,
kissing all them beautiful actresses at the least. So
yeah. Here I have the
good
wrestling
shot.
promoter fall into.
Good.
Yeah, yeah. We had a underwater cam there to get the shot, and then the girls would get my attention, and then here she falls back in again,
We got some comedy.
and then yeah, the movie is a comedy.
Yeah.
It's comedy based,
Yeah. And it
and
flows
I'm
too.
yeah. Well, the Rotten Ronnie is celebrating him being world champion,
Okay.
so yeah, I had to keep the camera up because one of the girls had a thong bathing suit on, and that girl's is a female wrestler too, and she also was in got to be on AEW in some episodes and stuff. So
Okay.
you know, so uh, now
Thinking.
Ronnie's telling the story, being interviewed with the two championship titles that he has. Because they want to know how he became the greatest of all time. It's because the boxer versus wrestler match, and in the idea of the thing here, and this is the promoter here, Jeremy Ambler.
Now, when you were shooting these matches, were you shooting them like before shows, or were you going specifically setting up
No,
a ring just to shoot the matches?
no, this was up in a small town. I can't remember right off the bat, outside of Moundsville, West Virginia,
Okay.
and it's a closed down school, and then at the bottom in the gymnasium part of the school, they had a promotion that different promotions up there between Pennsylvania and Ohio and West Virginia would run there, and they would film their TV and stuff that they had up there.
Okay.
And I rented the to do my movie, and I had all day use for the same price,
Okay.
and and got to use his ring and the set, and used the school building and different areas and stuff. And then at the office there, I used at the Holiday Inn Express there in Bridgeport, or not Bridgeport, but it's right there at right before you get to Shingston. It's
Really?
Shirley Donnelly Drive there. Yeah, the woman there that was the manager of the hotel is also an actor, and she plays a small part in this movie of mine, which you'll see her, which her name's Beck Rosner. But Beck now is a SAG actor, and she does a lot of TV commercials and TV appearances, and goes all over the world, all over the United States now,
How cool.
making money. Yeah, so she's no longer the manager there, but she started up with JC Films, and she did this film for me and helped me out with some filming locations such as the hot tub and the pool that was at the Holiday Inn Express, and the motel rooms,
Huh.
and she let me film there, and everything. So between the school up north and here, I had compromised it, and I filmed. And then how I did the wrestling, and I had the extras, the background actors. They got a free wrestling show,
Gotcha.
and I just ran it just like a regular wrestling show. I mean, I was filming my scenes,
Mm-hmm.
but then when it came to the wrestling, I just filmed the whole wrestling show. Now you're going to see Beck Rosner. She's the manager of this hotel here, which that's her right there,
Okay.
and she's a SAG actor now,
Cool.
Screen Actors Guild. So she is SAG, and she has an agent and a manager, and they get her all the bookings and stuff. And she does a lot of television commercials and a lot of, which is a lot of money you get for that, plus residuals and TV stuff. And she goes all over, from New York to Florida to California,
Okay.
and this was before she became SAG.
Okay. Now you say you
But
recorded all that wrestling stuff in one day. Tell me how hectic that was.
for
Working the matches, setting up the shots, making sure.
we
How hectic
that
was
was a
that?
long that we started at 5 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. I was there early,
Okay.
2 hours early, and the other production, Just Us Production, got there, and we had look. I already walked through and looked around, and that took the other production, Cody Green, around telling this is what I have in mind here. So, but we had to build a room there, take a room, make it into the promoter, the athletic commissioner's office.
Okay.
And because I only had Jeremy Ambler for that time, or I would have had filmed it the next day
So you're
at
shooting
the
that as
motel.
well. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, and we had to find a room there, and it took a while to set that room up to make it look like an office.
I'm sure.
I mean, and then we had to change the make the ring look a little bit different for the boxing and make the ring look a bit different for the wrestling,
And it
and then
does. I noticed
buck.
that. So
Mhm.
props.
Yeah, and so, but we had just filmed all the matches just like it was a regular wrestling card, like a regular wrestling show. Match one, match two, and there's some matches that didn't make the cut, but I
Mm,
had them if I needed them,
there you go.
and the matches were primarily more. The extra matches were primarily more for the extras in them, so they get something out of it. Plus they got fed and everything.
Good.
Um, and the elevator's not working now. You're going to see a nice scene here coming up
Okay.
where you hear the funny music in the background now. And so uh,
Yeah,
here
definitely
I
make
am.
sure you watch this with the audio. We'll have it
Yeah,
linked in the
yeah,
description. Watch it
yeah.
twice.
And the he's going down because he's got to use the stairs, right?
Okay.
And to go up, and this is probably one of most people's favorite scene is this scene here that's watched the movie
Okay.
because the elevator's not working, and as you watch here, he's going up these flight of stairs and he's complaining. He's the world heavyweight champion. And
The life of a
can't
pro
believe,
wrestler.
yeah. And here he's going up the stairs and stuff, and the idea of this is that stairwell that goes to nowhere, and you see him come around the corner and he comes up another flight of stairs, and then he's slowly getting tired. He's getting the workout, and he's going around to another set of stairs. And you ever seen that infinity staircase they always talk about?
Okay.
That's where I got this idea from. As you see, he's still going up these flight of stairs. How many flights of stairs is it?
Right.
And then he's going up again. And he's complaining, and he's like, no other world champion's treated like this. And, and here he comes again, like a continuous.
And I guarantee you
Uh,
that's happened to a world champion, a pro wrestling champion sometime this week. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Especially if you're in other countries like London and all that. Especially when they're going overseas, you've got taller
There
buildings,
you go.
and
Exactly.
imagine the elevator not working, and here he is again coming up. He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, see, he's getting tired now. He's like, how many more flight stairs is there?
Well,
So,
hey, while we're poking fun, you say you got there at 5 a.m. Production was there. What time the
yeah,
boys start showing up for that shoot?
the boys showed up before the Just Us production.
Oh, okay, okay. Well,
The boys were there right about maybe an hour and a half after I showed. Now, here's another funny part. He gets to
good
the
on
room
them.
finally,
Okay.
and he's using the card key, trying to get into the room, and the room's not unlocking.
Oh dear.
And he's trying to get into the room,
Uh oh.
and he can't get in the room.
You're going to have to go back down
And
them
now,
steps.
and now he's got to go back down the steps again.
Oh no.
So,
Oh
I was
Lord.
going to film him going back down the steps, but it made the movie too long.
There you go.
So I cut, from didn't put that in there because it would have been funny. Here he is finally in his room, and the wrestling promoter is coming to talk to him
Okay.
to tell him that she got a phone call from the athletic commissioner and stuff, and that's what she's doing here. She's also mad at him because he won the world heavyweight title, right?
Okay.
So he's watching the football game on TV, and the wrestler watching the football game.
Gotcha. Well,
Uh,
hey, it happens.
well, I put that in there because of the Monday Night Wars.
Okay. Oh,
The Monday Night Wars between WCW Monday Nitro and WWF Monday Night Raw
mhm.
almost ended Monday Night Football.
Okay. Gotcha.
because the ratings, everybody was watching the wrestling war
Mm-hmm.
and nobody was watching football,
I gotcha.
which is how ESPN got a hold of ABC's Monday Night Football.
Ah, okay.
See, Monday nights was football.
Yep.
Then Raw came on Monday nights, and then WCW. When the wrestling wars started, it almost destroyed the NFL's Monday Night Football.
That's
It
crazy.
almost ended it.
Isn't that wild
And
to say today? How different it is today. But yeah, I
yeah,
lived it. I believe it.
and then, but it was because I remember watching Monday Night Football like dedicated since elementary school,
Okay.
and then all of a sudden the Monday Night War started. Now we're all watching what's going on TV.
And that's
And this was the birth. This was the ending of the new generation and going into the attitude generation.
right on. Yeah. And that's where I got to
You
give it to
see,
WCW. If they hadn't stepped things up, like those first few episodes of Raw, they were different. They were cool. But if
mm-hmm.
WCW hadn't applied that pressure, we might be having a different conversation today. Probably not because the
Well,
business was crazy, but you know what I mean.
if WCW, what people don't understand is that Eric Bischoff wasn't the guy responsible, even though uh, uh, Vince Russo didn't help it any.
Right.
Uh, it wasn't Vince Russo that killed WCW. It was the merger between Time Warner and
AOL.
Turner Brock and AOL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, AOL, Time Warner, and Turner and Turner. And that when they merged, Ted Turner lost control of the wrestling WCW
Yep.
as well as other channels,
Mm-hmm.
and Time Warner had control in that. So it was a coup from Time Warner, and they did not want to have nothing to do with wrestling at all. And so they sent a guy down to minimize what Bischoff can do,
Mm-hmm.
and so Bischoff hands was tied, and
Yep.
he always had an answer to a board. Why is he making more money than all the other areas? He had an answer.
Mm-hmm.
How can he answer why WCW is doing better than anything else? Well, it's because this is entertainment, and it's more entertaining than watching the so-called news media. But if you start thinking about it, you would think, well, Time Warner need to get a hold of CNN. They need to get a hold of Headline News
Mm-hmm.
Network too. It was a control to get a hold of the news networks.
Yeah. Okay.
And WCW was bringing in more money than what they were, and they couldn't have that because they couldn't have a wrestling company outdo the controlled news narrative
There
because
you go.
nobody's watching the news. So they had to get rid of wrestling, and so they put constraints on Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, and long before
And
the Monday Night Wars, Ted Turner was the only one that liked the wrestling. Those executives weren't for it from Jump Street, from the purchase
well,
of. So.
when he got his dad's television station,
Mm-hmm.
when Ted Turner got his dad's television station, WTBS,
Mm-hmm.
and for him to make it into what was called the Superstation, and make it because he had a more audience than USA Network or any other station
Mm-hmm.
because he saw the advent of cable.
Yep.
Okay, and there was three networks that saw the future of the advent of cable. That was WTBS, Superstation WTBS. The other one was the USA Network, which was originally the Madison Square Gardens Network,
Okay.
which was NBC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the other one was WGN Chicago.
Okay.
Those were the three that saw the biggest television
Coverage.
cable network. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they're all in existence today.
Right.
USA is still here, TBS is still here, and so is WGN.
Yep.
And WGN grew to be a bigger entity out of the cable. And see, a lot of people don't understand that. And people ask me what the Mount Rushmore wrestling is. Well, that's simple. It's Gorgeous George, Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those are the four men that
Made
changed wrestling.
changes. That's the first thing I thought. They made changes. You're exactly right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous George was the first character on the television wrestling when television came on wrestling. When television first came in, wrestling was one of the first things. Gorgeous George was the first guy to become the big first superstar.
Okay.
And that was during the time when the Dumont Network had control over it, and it became ABC would buy the Dumont Network out.
Okay.
And but Gorgeous George, in the beginning of the television, he was the first superstar, and where he came out, then all these other wrestlers emulated him. Classy Freddie Blassie emulated him. Nature Boy Buddy Rogers emulated him. Macho Man Randy Savage, the character Macho Man Randy Savage is after Gorgeous George. I mean, Muhammad Ali emulated Gorgeous George. So did Joe Namath of the New York Jets emulated Gorgeous George. Superstar Billy Graham, all of it. All of it comes down. They're all different versions of Gorgeous George. Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, Y2J, Chris Jericho. These are all versions of. Here I am going into a donut shop asking for something other than this was my nephew's wife's and her sister's bakery business.
Okay.
And I just went in and asked her, would you let me film in here? And she said, yeah. And I'm asking for an order, and they don't serve any of that. And this is my nephew's wife coming over to talk to me and her sister over there. and so they end up just giving me a bottle of water.
Hey.
and I put her in the movie. That's Hannah. And here he's asking for an order of actual meal, but they don't serve that. They're just a bakery for like cupcakes, cakes, donuts.
Hey, another struggle of the pro wrestler on the road. I mean, it's true. It happens. You better get you one of those. Go ahead.
I also filmed in the restaurant, the diner right beside this, which was my friend's diner, the Cafe 110. Good food there if anybody wants to eat there. Now, Hannah's bakery, her bakery ain't there on Main Street no more. So, and she does it on Facebook now. So you have to order it on Facebook, and she'll deliver it to people or whatever here in the local area. But I don't even know if she's doing that anymore. So she just gets him a bottle of water, and then he's like, because he's just taking it like it's some type of, down. There's only one table in there, right?
Right.
So, and he's trying to act like there's no way a world champion's supposed to be treated. He sees himself as a legit world champion, right? As every wrestler should.
There you go.
And to wear a championship title is like winning the Oscar. You should treat it as such,
Yeah.
And so he walks out and to go to a restaurant because he has a meeting with Mustafa Kali's manager.
I didn't even see him pay for that water.
He didn't, and I didn't. And here he is. Here he is in the motel room watching the boxer versus wrestler match between Andre the Giant and Chuck Wepner. Okay, which led to Muhammad Ali doing Antonio Inoki.
Yep.
And which also that match right there, Chuck Wepner and Andre the Giant, the boxer versus wrestler match, led to Stallone putting Hulk Hogan as Thunder Lips against Rocky Balboa and Rocky III, which changed wrestling forever. That was the match. But yeah, Gorgeous George was the early of the television, changed the game, first character of television because he was the only one that was different from every other wrestler. And then when early cable came out, that would be Andre the Giant because early cable came out in the mid 70s. Okay. And at that time, there was only two recognizable athletes' names in the world that was household names. That was Muhammad Ali and Andre the Giant.
Okay.
And Andre the Giant, was everywhere that could be booked in wrestling. He was on the $6 Million Man TV series as Bigfoot.
Right. Yep.
Which helped start the Bigfoot mania craze, was because Andre playing Bigfoot on the $6 Million Man show and Leonard Nimoy's In Search Of.
Okay.
And which is kind of like the predecessor to Unsolved Mysteries.
Right on.
And then towards the peak of cable, where now cable is in everybody's household, in the early 80s, Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
And Hulk Hogan was everywhere. And I mean, he broke through pop culture. He was everywhere.
He was on my
You
birthday
could,
cake, and I wasn't even watching wrestling then. So it was probably because of
yeah,
Rocket Wrestling, I bet. You know, the cartoon series he
yeah.
had.
Well, he had a cartoon series. He had his own big action figure
Mm-hmm.
doll
Mm-hmm.
uh, out. He had his. I mean, LJN also came out with their toy supplies, but he was on lunch boxes. He was on his T-shirts was the first T-shirts to be sold in stores.
Okay.
You know, WWF merchandising stayed in the uh, at the arenas and stuff,
Yep.
except for Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
Hulk Hogan had his own vitamins. He was on TV shows. He was on the music videos, both country and MTV.
Right.
He was everywhere. You know, there's more Andre and Chuck Webner there now. She started drinking when she found how much money is involved for this boxer versus wrestler fight.
Uh-oh.
So she gets drunk,
Uh-oh.
and of course she wakes up with
There's the Ron Jeremy scene.
there's the Ron Jeremy scene, right?
Yeah, when you said Ron Jeremy earlier, I had flashbacks to this. I said, okay, yeah, man. I mean,
Yeah,
tell me
yeah,
that ain't Ron Jeremy there. Come on now.
yeah, and
I've seen a few Ron Jeremy films back in my day, Cuban.
I'm trying to figure out how he got put in jail for rape, and he was an adult film star. I mean,
Hey, man, I don't know the
you know,
details, but
none
I
that I
mean,
seen. I
I'm not going to say I'm surprised that he's a sleazeball, you know? Like,
mm-hmm.
that's kind of what he was
Yeah,
paid to be, so. I got
yeah.
even got us a little bit of butt crack there. We appreciate you. Let's go.
Well, the cameraman Roscoe kind of here's Beck again. Here I'm butt naked in the hallway,
There you go.
and asked her if she wanted an autograph, and she's like, and I was like, was it something I said? And that's Ron Starr's. I mean, Ronnie's favorite saying in this movie is, "Was it something I said?"
Okay. Yep. Yep.
And now I got to go get a key, and then she's trying. She's embarrassed, and we're having dinner, breakfast actually, and I'm like, Ronnie's acting like what, and then she's trying to get quiet and stuff, and then these wrestlers come by because they made a lot of noise. She made a lot of noise with them that night,
Oh,
and
okay. Is that
yeah,
that's what they're asking
and
you guys about? What all the noise was about?
well, they're sitting there saying, Ronnie, because yeah, because he had her screaming right,
I
and
gotcha. Kind of like the
and
old
then
Todd is God story. If you've
yeah,
heard Todd Gordon's
I
story.
then I say something here, and she gets kind of upset and leaves, and then I say, was it something I said?
Okay.
And like that, and then everybody in the restaurant says yes.
There we go. Good stuff.
And yeah, he's like, was it something I said? And all the people was like, yes, like in a whisper, because everybody can hear the conversation.
I love
And
it.
but no, I was poking fun because the whole cartoon wrestling stuff, the cartoon wrestling won the when it should have been the other way around. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Hulk Hogan came, he was everywhere, and then the next change would come during the '90s for the Attitude Era, and that would be Stone Cold Steve Austin because he was everywhere
Yep.
just as much as Hulk Hogan was. Again, movies, TVs, he was in T-shirts. His T-shirts are still the number one selling T-shirts today.
You go to a high school football game and they be playing Stone Cold's theme before the football game or basketball game. I mean, everywhere.
Well, he became as iconic because he was the mirror version opposite of what Hulk Hogan is.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and then John Cena is the repackaged version of Hulk Hogan.
Right on. Yep. And
You
for them
know,
to make that work in the years they made it work, kudos to them. Like.
well, I mean, John Cena had his peak. Of course, it was nowhere high as Austin. Austin is the highest peak of all of them. The
Right.
highest peak of all the peaks is Stone Cold Steve Austin's peak.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's right below Austin's peak, like Austin's up here and Hulk Hogan's here.
Right on.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
And then right down below Hulk Hogan's Andre, then Gorgeous George, and John Cena is probably the same level as Gorgeous George is.
Which is still
You
a
know,
nice level to be at. You know, still a
yeah,
pretty nice level.
yeah, and you know, and of course now WWE is going through a phase because they got no mega star no more, and their last mega star retired.
Yep.
So, and it's proven whether you love him or hate him, John Cena was that last megastar for them, and now they got to produce a whole new megastar.
Yeah. I mean,
They're going to be losing. They're going to be losing AJ Styles. They're going to be losing Brock Lesnar this year.
yep.
Uh, they're going to be losing. I imagine CM Punk's going to go because he's going to Hollywood too. Uh, imagine they're going to cut Miz off from the chop. I think he's on the chopping block.
Yeah, he hasn't won a match
Uh,
in 2 years, I heard. So like they're just using him to get other guys over, but once you do that so long for 2 years, it doesn't really matter when he gets beat anymore. You know?
no, well, he also uh, they're not using him as much either.
Yeah.
He's got less TV time,
Mm-hmm.
and so. But if I was a Miz, I'd just move on to acting.
For sure.
You know, now you're gonna see my daughter right behind me here,
Okay.
right behind my head. That my daughter is actually in that scene with a couple of her friends. So,
Hey, I'm glad you got the family in it. Good on you.
mm,
Got to.
yeah, and got the waitress in on it. She did good. The waitress actually did pretty good.
Hey,
You know,
it's the folks will surprise you. Some folks just have it. You know?
well, she was just she asked me what she's supposed to do. I said just be a waitress, like because you're working today, right? She said yes. I said,
There you go.
she said there's my daughter right there behind my head, and
Okay.
that kid's grown up now. All these kids are growing up now.
I'm sure.
And here I am getting ready to sign the autograph, and I say, hey, I said, you got $5? And he said, no. I said, well, I'm sorry, kid, I can't give out no
Oh.
personal endorsements.
Oh man. Daggone. That's heat. Oh man.
And that's something I actually did, which kind of,
Oh
you
yeah?
know,
To the
yeah,
kids.
it broke a kid. Yeah, oh man. I was a Cuban commando for Jim Hawkins' ACCW Atlantic Coast Championship Wrestling. And we was up in New Martinsville, West Virginia. And me and another heel were sitting outside watching the matches. And the kid comes over and asks for an autograph, and his mother's there. And I look at the kid and said, $5.
Uh-huh.
And the kid started crying, and his mother's like, I can't believe, how dare you? And he walked away. And that stuck for me. And I was like, man, I broke that kid's heart. And because I was playing the character like my dad told me to.
Right.
And I made that moment. After that moment, I was like, I will never turn away a kid ever again in my entire life. As a matter of fact, I did the exact opposite. If they can't afford to buy a picture, I give them one for free.
There you
I'll
go.
make up this whole thing. I say, hey, you know, and I said, what would you like? And he says, well, I don't have any money. I said, well, you know what? You're in luck. And he said, what? And I said, yeah, you're in luck. You are my 100th customer this week. So being my 100th customer, you get to have a free pick, and you pick one out.
Well, there you go. That way you're
And
still keeping the gimmick, you know, the kid just got lucky. I love it.
right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I just learned not to ever do that again. When a fan asks for an autograph, you give them an autograph.
Good
You
on
fan
you.
wants a fan wants a picture, you give them a picture. Let them take their picture with you. You know, these are the people that make you, and that's why I get kind of disturbed when I understand the people who don't like to be bombarded by a lot of people. I get it.
Right.
You see, I had them put everything on the bill for him, and left. I dined and dashed and left the bill for him, for the
Hey,
boxing manager. Now
good.
he's trying to call me to find what's going on because he's got paid for the bill now because I dined and dashed on it.
And to kind of touch on the fan part there, talking about the kids and everything, every time I talk to my aunt about wrestling, she's about to turn 80. Every time
Mhm.
wrestling's mentioned, she tells me about this wrestler that ripped up her autograph book when she went to the armory when she was a kid. So my point
Mhm.
is that kind of stuff sticks with them, you know. Like I remember giving the
Oh
wrestlers hell when I was a kid, you know, but positive interactions for me.
yeah. Well, I mean, back in the day, a heel had to be a heel, and that's and
Yeah,
MJF. MJF today is what a heel would been, what a heel was in the past.
yeah, Right on. Yeah, you see him
You
just
know,
cussing kids and flipping off babies and just the different
yeah,
stuff you see from autograph
that's
signings with him.
that's the heel of the past,
Right on.
and the attitude was okay.
Mm.
Uh, she, so she's getting ready to tell him she got paid, or she's gonna have to call the cops. So,
Yeah.
and he's got to pay the bill. Ronnie left him with the bill. That's why he's rotten.
Yeah.
You know,
Well.
he's rotten to the core, and like and stuff. But
I love it.
everything leads up to the boxer versus wrestler match. But you see all these little traits of Rotten Ronnie. You'll see him training here, which is comical too. The training
I
uh,
like that it's not just
scene.
a bunch of wrestling because I've been previewing a lot of wrestling movies to put on here, and you've got your wrestling matches in there, but a lot of these wrestling movies really take advantage of shooting the wrestling matches, and you've got like half a wrestling event and not even like three-fourths a wrestling event and then a few scene shots. So I got to give you kudos for doing scenes like this. You didn't just go film a wrestling show and shoot some scenes around it, you know?
No, I'm a storyteller, and and a pro wrestling match is telling a story.
For sure.
And here we're having the press conference here now,
There we go.
and
Got the cameras
but
going
the
off.
thing, yeah, but the thing is you're supposed to be telling a story. If there's no story to be told, there's not a movie, there's not a TV episode or nothing. Uh, you got to have a story, and that's why I try to tell the young boys today. It's not about your damn spots and getting your crap in. It's about telling a damn story, and they wonder why wrestling's gone down in ratings. It's because it looks too fake. It's too choreographed. When I started, we didn't never choreograph anything.
Right.
You went out to you worked together in the ring, and that's where JD Joe Brody is trying to bring back is some of that stuff.
Hmm.
And and I'm going to be possibly running a few shows here in the summer, which my shows are going to be all old school theme. I'm interviewing all the wrestlers, tell them exactly what my rules are, what I want, and
Good.
and I just don't want them to think I'm trying to tell them no, you can't do that. I tell them no, do what you normally do for everybody else, but for me, you're going to do it this way,
Right on.
and like there's just a lot of things in wrestling that they need. There's a lot of needless things that they do because the wrestlers want to see themselves on TV instead of trying to tell a story. And you got and another thing that they don't have is the emotional investment from the audience.
Yep.
Okay. And you need emotional investments. That's where the baby face is put. That's where they don't have no real baby face. They have no real heels. All they got is everybody. Everybody's a crook stabbing everybody.
Yeah, just going
And
out there to wrestle. There's so many ways to tell stories in wrestling. You can do it within one match. You can do it within one promo. You can have promo match. You can have a show run storyline run throughout a show. You can have it run throughout a year. But we don't have any
Mhm.
stories, Cuban. I don't understand. There's
No,
so
no,
many stories to tell.
yeah. And see, back in the day, we didn't call them storylines. That terminology came in when the writers came in,
Right on.
when the Hollywood writers came in,
Mhm.
because they said, "What's the storyline?"
Mhm.
And what a story, and just so people don't understand what a storyline is, when you're in a movie or something, they would make these little cartoon blocks, okay, and your cartoon comic books, at the blocks, that's a storyline,
Mhm.
okay, because they tell their story in blocks to the people, because they ain't got time. You don't have all day to sit here and read a whole novel. You don't have all day to see some type of visualization. So the visualization that gets these little comic book story blocks with the little air bubbles and some of the script in it, and that's how they sell movies.
Mhm.
Okay, that's how they do it. They have these story blocks, these
Mhm.
storylines. That's where the word that comes from. What we used to call back in the day was called working a program.
Okay. Yep.
That if you and I was going to be working together for a while, we're working a program together. You and I are working a program together. We're just one program out of the program that you turn over, and we're one little mention of that program. You see, that's
Mhm.
the whole point. Was just the whole point of the story of telling the story is to help sell those little program guides, and then hopefully it would lead to the magazines back then, because back then that's how the word got out. That then you write a little bit of your story and your program in the magazine.
Right on. Okay.
You see, and that's the pretense of it, and I still call it working a program because, and it's another thing too. You don't need to have a. Here I am training. This is my favorite part of the whole film is me training. You know,
I love the
and here I
outfit.
have it. Yeah,
That's slick.
that's the capital outfit, sports outfit from Japan.
Okay, okay.
Okay, and then I have Roscoe coming right by me, and
Man.
he's a bigger, heavy set guy, and I'm like acting like I'm struggling, and I have a guy more out of shape than me pass me up, you know, and I'm making myself stand out like looking like a banana, right?
Right on.
And
But you still got
here I'm
on that
home.
outfit that shows that you are a world traveled wrestler. You've been to Japan, for the
Yeah,
smart ones out
here
there.
here here I'm doing the stretches, and I'm hurt my back, and then all of a sudden a good looking girl comes by. Now I'm really trying to impress.
Going Ric Flair on them.
Yeah, and now I'm like, oh my back, and then I'm like, you'll see something else here in the training section. Like, that's going to leave a mark. and
where's this at?
and
I like that building in the background.
well, that cabin's no longer there. That's still a
No?
scout cabin. This is an Oak Hill. Yeah, they tore it down.
Oh wow.
They remodeled the park. Here she is working out with the bands, and she leaves. I see the bands, so I come over there, and this is the old Collins High School football field. The stadium's no longer there,
Okay.
and here I go trying to work the bands here now, and I'm like having a struggle with working the bands.
Okay.
See, Ronnie's not really in shape. He's trying to get prepared for this boxer match. She comes over now. He look at he's get her water bottle, and he's like, okay. Then all of a sudden he trips up and he falls.
Oh,
Here
good
he's
bump. Hell yeah.
yeah. I'm trying to do push-ups and I can't get up right.
Starting to take you
And then
serious. Uh
then the girl comes by. Then also I'm doing push-ups,
huh. Hell
like
yeah.
impressing everybody, trying to impress everybody when they come by.
Hey,
And
and when you're saying you're poking fun at the business and the cartoon wrestling and the guys that are, just in it for, and now you got to face a legitimate athlete. Uh oh, shit! Because
right,
I hear it
yeah.
so
Watch
much
this.
nowadays. Uh oh.
She's doing bending over. I'm jogging, not paying
Oh,
attention, and I run into
and
the
have the water for added effect.
yeah,
Anybody,
and
anybody still going?
there, yeah.
There we go.
He says on your left, he's and then and then I call for an Uber to leave, and it turns to dark real quick. Yep,
Yeah.
and like I trying like I trained all day, and everything, and the Uber pulls up, and I'm talking to the promoter. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 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 and then the Uber comes up, and then you'll see something here. It's kind of funny. I try to make sure to do as much comical stuff as I can because it's supposed to be a comedy.
Oh yeah, man.
And
It's working.
then the Uber driver pulls up.
He's a coming. There he comes.
Yep. And then I go over there, and then as soon as I open the door, then Roscoe runs by and he says, "On your left."
Damn, still going. Let's go,
Yeah.
Roscoe.
Roscoe's in pretty good shape. People don't realize that he's in good shape. You
That's
know.
he's going.
hmm So, but we had fun filming all of this. This was fun making this movie. But yeah, with um, wrestling, I poked fun at it because it was the cartoon wrestling that won,
Makes sense.
and instead of being the people should have won, But a lot of things with the wrestling today, like I said, I think they have no emotional investment. They look too fake, too choreographed. They have a storyline every freaking match. You don't need a storyline. You need what's called preliminary matches. Uh, then now they brought back the 2 out of 3 falls, but in a different way. The 3 stages of hell
Right on.
match with which worked really well for them on that aspect. Plus getting the title off Cody.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Cody, but he was a very he's a very boring champion.
They
Uh,
don't give him a whole lot to. Yeah, I'm a huge Cody Rhodes fan,
but
but I'm not
but
tuning
but
in
the
to
but
watch Cody because there ain't nothing to watch, man. Like,
but the problem is he's only boring because he has nobody for them to feed to
yep,
him.
yep, you're exactly right.
And I felt like Cody kind of got in that spot after the Ultimate Warrior got the title,
Okay.
and then they look at the cast of characters they got. Well, who do we have that we can feed to him?
Yep. Should have thought of that. Yeah,
And
you gotta keep
if
making new
and
stars.
somebody asked me, I was like, if it was me to give them advice, I would tell them to go with who's ever organically over. And to me, if they really want to get their ratings back,
Hmm.
if it was me, I would have LA Knight win the Royal Rumble and win the title at WrestleMania,
That's
and that would save them because he's the only organic guy over,
yeah,
and the only reason why they're not pushing him is because of his age.
yeah, yeah,
But he's over,
for sure.
and they need to take advantage of it. The other person they need to take advantage over that's organically over, which they've been trying to screw and smash, was Jey Uso.
Yeah, but then Jey Uso gets on there on John Cena's retirement, and he's drunk as a skunk, and like Jay's kind of
Yeah,
shooting himself in
that's
the foot
that
too.
that's them
Yeah.
doing that to him.
No.
And here they had a good momentum with Jay, and then they just take the belt off of him.
Yeah.
And but
And then you
they
talk.
also
Go ahead.
they also need to do something with what's his name? That's Tiffany Stratton's ex boyfriend. That's Americana now.
Oh yeah,
If he's over big, and they need to do something with that while they have him.
for sure. Yeah.
And why so they definitely need to do something. If it was me, and this is just me, he should be the guy as the Intercontinental Champion.
Well,
And
I like what they're doing is they're sending him to Mexico right now. He'll be on AAA tonight, one of their big shows. He's making them all kinds of money in Mexico with that AAA deal. So, but yeah,
yeah, he is. But I'm talking about for
right here in the states, and
for no, I mean Triple A's Triple A. They acquired it,
yeah,
but I'm talking about WWE itself, their ratings,
NBC.
their Monday Night Raw, and all that. For them, they need to put. I would put the men's Intercontinental title belt on Americana. I would put the women's Intercontinental belt on Ivy now because she's the one that's more believable, more realistic,
Right on.
and she'll be more of a convincing champion than Maxine Dupree.
Yeah.
Maxine Dupree's call was more of a Becky Lynch thing because they're trying to set up for her and Jessica Carr.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and I know Jessica Carr, and stuff. Remember who this person is, Sunny D.
I do not. Who is it?
She was a female wrestler that wrestled for ASW. There, she was Moose's one of his star students from ACW.
Okay.
She is. Trying to remember what she wrestled as, but she was trained by not just Moose, but she was trained by Jillian Hall.
Okay.
And I think I'm trying to remember what her name was again. I keep forgetting because she started off with Sunny D, and she became something else like this hillbilly girl. But she was the former ASW Women's Champion in All Star Wrestling for Gary Damron.
Okay. Yeah, you got a
And
nice little representation of talent from the area in this. I like it.
yeah, she was just starting. She was
Okay.
just starting her career,
Heck yeah.
and I asked her if she would like to do a movie, and she said yeah. And so she came up, and she was like 16 or 17 at this time.
Okay.
She started training at 16, 17 years old, yeah, for Moose. And then she went and Jillian Hall started, because that's her idol was Jillian Hall. But then she fell in love and got married to a guy and quit wrestling.
Ah, you'll have that.
Yeah. hmm
Hey,
Then here I said it was something I said, and she just holds her arms up. So, but yeah, the now here the wrestling promoter is worried about something bad can happen out here because we kind of been put in the spot, and so Ronnie's got to come up with something to save the day.
okay.
For everybody, for the boxer, for the wrestling promotion, all of it, and he's representing pro wrestling, right?
I got you.
So that's what this scene is. And they actually had a little locker room there in that school building with the boys. That's where we filmed this part at. So,
Okay.
uh, but yeah, wrestling. I would put LA Knight as the top guy in SmackDown. They have two choices on Raw. They can go and try to get back on the Jey Uso steam, or they need to just go ahead and put that world title on Braun Breaker.
Yeah, no
And
doubt.
I know they're trying to set for WrestleMania between Braun and CM Punk. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
He'll
And
come back. He'll come back
I
at the
know they're
Rumble.
trying to I know they're trying to push that big guy from NXT,
Mm-hmm.
Obo,
Oba Femi.
and yeah, and they're completely sidelined Jacob Fatu. They need to either put that title on either LA Knight or Jacob Fatu on SmackDown.
I get you. Now, when it
You
came,
know,
when it got to the editing spot, did you run into any points where you had to do any reshoots or anything for this?
no reshoots for this movie. I had
Cool.
shot enough on this movie, and as far as editing wise, Roscoe was the one who did the editing
Okay.
for this. Yeah. Now I didn't start doing my own editing until the next project, which was Legends Mountain,
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because
and then
editing a
I would
movie.
do
Woo.
my yeah. Well, it's not hard to me.
Mm,
It's about trying to get the right, because you have to film things from different perspectives and different angles, and it's about getting something that you think looks good and would be good helping to tell your story.
yeah.
And
Try to make the audience understand what's going on in your head without writing it on a piece of
right,
paper and showing. Because I had to edit our
right.
short film, and it was just a short film. And oh no, this guy got bit by a werewolf. How do we do this? Hey Rucker, you got to scream and send me a voice clip of you screaming so I can overlap it with a dog chasing some guy down the street. Stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I had to do reshoots for the Mountaineer, my
Okay.
very first movie, and I had to do some other some reshoots for it,
Okay.
and then had to let's see for well, I didn't have to do reshoots. I just scheduled an extra film day for Flight of the Patsy, and that's because of the actors' availability being available for the to do the film.
Oh, I can only
and
imagine.
well, when the main guy playing Oswald, you got to have him.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was gonna. Yeah.
and and then I had to work around certain actors that couldn't come back, like Larry Orton, which is playing the main investigator. Larry Orton's the star of the film,
Okay.
uh, and so I had to really work around the schedule shoot, and everything. And of course, you know, uh, doing take after take after take, and dealing with someone who's just got a big role, and trying to coach him and everything, and get him to be. I had to go through so many acting breathing exercises with some of these actors, getting to relax, and
Really.
because a lot of it's their first time acting,
Okay.
and they don't understand that acting is not acting. Acting is reacting.
Okay.
Real acting is done on theater. Okay,
Okay.
and so because you have to rehearse for weeks, and then you got to do your show every day. There, after you're doing your show every day, that's it. There is no takes, no cut, and theater. You got to go. And then
Right.
you have to be very good in improv. And that's just a match between the boxer versus wrestler. I make sure my gut stuck out.
Hey,
Instead of chest to chest, I put my gut out there.
good. Make
you
it
know,
work. Make
I'm
it
trying.
work.
Yeah, I'm trying to show the old beer belly wrestler,
Hey,
because that's what Ronnie is, the old beer belly wrestler, right?
there's plenty of them out there. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
wrong. And some of the. I love me some Kevin Owens. He's looking good nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, he's slimmed down a lot.
I saw.
Uh,
I was watching old ECW the other day, and it was when Sandman came back from WCW, and he came back with
mm-hmm.
his shirt off and looked like a completely different guy. So we can talk what we want about WCW and how they book some of these guys, but they whipped Sandman into shape. I got to give him that.
Oh yeah, yeah, and
He looked good.
you know, mm and see, Huck, don't worry about, just punch me towards the head. But if you happen to get good shots, don't worry about it. It'll go good for the film.
Okay.
Uh,
Did he? Did he get you
yeah,
good?
oh, he got me a couple times, and he went to apologize for it. And I was like, Huck, you don't need to apologize to me. You know, that's probably what's going to make the cut.
Yeah.
It's something. I'd rather have you have something look real than something look fake. And
Exactly.
and there was no real choreography here. We're kind of working together in this ring.
Okay. Good.
Because he asked us, how are we going to do this? So we're just going to work together like a regular wrestling match. I'm just going to tell you jab, 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 punch, pat, uppercut. You just do it. And and I was like, just get on me, stay on me, and then and then just stay away. Let the ref do his thing because it's supposed to be a boxer type situation.
Do the
You
same
see the
thing.
ring? I make the ring look different again
Uh-huh.
here with the, and so and and then I go to that time I get you in some wrestling holes. Just listen to me like we normally do a regular match. I've wrestled Huck several times. One of my favorite guys to wrestle.
Okay.
I mean, I have a lot. I have a lot of favorite guys. Here, I get him in the full Nelson.
Uh-oh.
Tell
Oh,
him to
there you
break
go.
loose and punch me. Yeah, yeah. And I was like, break loose and turn around and punch me. He cocked me, and he's like, he felt bad. I was like, man, don't feel bad, Huck. I was like, it's wrestling. But he likes me. You see, he has
Yeah.
respect for me. And I get it. But you don't need to apologize to me. That's what That's
Yeah.
what I'm looking for.
Yeah, if you
I'm trying
respect
to.
me, help me make a good movie here.
Yeah,
Sock me.
yeah,
I,
yeah. Just hit me. If you hit me some good ones, I'll go. I'll work with you. And if you hit me some good ones, good.
uh-huh.
That's I mean, happens. It happens. I mean, trust me, this was by far easier to do than the actual boxer versus wrestler match I had with Justin No Mercy Robertson.
Yeah.
That little dude was all over me.
Yeah.
He about knocked me out several times in that match, for real.
Okay.
And I'm trying to protect him, and he's beating they like to tell me after the actual boxer versus wrestler match I had bruised ribs
Really?
uh, for about little over 8 weeks.
Oh wow.
I mean, they were still tender for a while, and then I had a concussion for months,
Goodness.
and I was concussed and from it because he hit me pretty daggone. He came right close to knocking me out.
Wow.
Like 2 or 3 times in that match. I mean, he and I'm like, man, if he would have just threw one good punch in there, it'd have been over. And I remember everybody asking me, like Cody asked me, what do you want me to do if he actually knocks you out? That's what you mean. You count 10 and give me to the hospital next door.
Okay.
That's what you do.
How much know-how did
Was,
that guy have about the business? Like, was he just a boxer or was he a wrestler as well?
who, Huck?
No, not the original boxer wrestler match. You
No,
said.
no, no. Justin Mercy Robertson had no knowledge of pro wrestling.
Okay.
And he was a Golden Gloves boxer, and
Okay.
he did a couple tough man contests, So he had 3 legit bouts under his belt,
I see.
and then he asked me, one time, what is there anything he need to go over? I said, go over what? And he said, the match, and he says, isn't that what you guys do? And I said, look, all you need to do is just do light medium hits and try your damnedest not to hurt me.
Okay.
And he said, yeah, but what if I break your nose? I said, then it'll make the match look good.
Hell yeah. Okay.
And then he's like, you're freaking crazy, man. It's like
Mission accomplished.
it's like
Mission accomplished.
I
That's
was
all
like
we need to talk
uh,
about. I'm crazy, so don't get too crazy out there.
and I took care of him,
Okay.
and he beat the living daylights out of him. And then he asked me later on. We become friends, good friends after that. And later on he goes, "Was that what you wanted?" I said, "That was exactly what I wanted."
Okay.
And he said, "Man, I was worried about knocked you out." And I said, "Well, you damn right, damn near did." And it's like if it was a real referee that was actually involved, the match would have been stopped because he was all I mean,
Right on.
I took the beating. I
Yeah.
took the beating for the business. I took the beating for here I am doing wrestling on
There
him
we go.
now.
Oh.
And then and yeah, and I took the beating, for the business because I needed the publicity for WVCW then, West Virginia Championship Wrestling,
Hell yeah.
and I got free press out of it, and it worked, and it built fans. That match and the Roscoe Rooster match I had uh, the year prior
Okay.
brought in the people in there and everything,
Good.
but that was the whole point, was to get the attention. It was never about trying to beat the boxer,
Right.
and nor would I want to humiliate any boxer. I would never want to do that. I would make the boxer win every time, even though he won by points anyway.
Gotcha.
And but you know, I would never, humiliate a boxer. That's his life. That's his livelihood. That's his, thing. I would never ever do that. And so that's where I make sure I protected both businesses.
That's hard to do
Don't
too.
embarrass don't embarrass the professional athlete,
Yeah.
and take it for the boys.
There you
Do
go.
it for the boys. Do it for the business, because that's the old school philosophy. That's the old school policy. It's not about winning, because I've already won by just drawing the attention.
There you go. Good way to look
And,
at it.
and yeah, and I just, I already, so it was never about winning. It's about getting the publicity. It's about getting attention. And it did. And we made history in West Virginia. Where our match is first, and it's public domain in the newspaper. So before the actual first official MMA fight, my boxer versus wrestler match was first.
Heck yeah.
So, so it's actually the very first MMA ever in West Virginia history. Is me and Justin No Mercy Robertson, and I got that newspaper clipping hanging up on my wall here,
Good.
and that's what it's about. It's about doing all that,
Somebody got to.
and you guys putting the ropes, and then here he's fighting, and I mean, I have fun doing this with Huck. I always have fun with Huck. Oh, from the first moment I ever wrestled Huck, man, he was on the juice, and he was bulked up in the shoulders and the chest, and I could hardly put my arm around his neck, and I had it in the ring, and I said, "You got a big fucking ass neck."
I was gonna say you gotta have fun with the guy if you're, like if he's punching you in the
Yeah.
head and you're having a good time, then he must be a good dude.
Well, I love Huck. I love Huck.
Heck
I
yeah.
love wrestling him. Every time I get in the ring with him, I love. He's a believable wrestler. He's got a natural, believable look, which he probably is real. If you was to make him mad,
Right.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't even wouldn't want to make him mad in no way, shape, or form. But I don't want to make any wrestler really mad personally,
Right.
because it's not about that. It's about being professional,
Exactly.
and hence the word professional wrestling. And something like people like Jeff Paul and others need to learn how to be professional. Um,
Hey, Jeff has
and
to
then
Jeff has to keep me straightened out. So he's doing he takes it a little bit seriously because Jeff gives me some phone calls and gives me hell every once in a while. So
well, he's still got a lot of stuff he needs to learn, and he's doing some things that he shouldn't be doing. But I'm not going to try to tell him how to live his life or all that. That's all on him. These are things he has to learn on his own.
well, if you're talking
You
about
know,
the
I,
dives, I think he's going to spare out them dives from here on out. I
well,
think he learned his lesson.
that's just one thing. There's some personal aspects which I'm not going to get into here, because I'm not one of them keyboard warriors
Right.
and hide behind a keyboard. And plus I don't believe in spewing personal business out on the internet, because that has nothing to do with nobody else.
Good on you.
But I mean, I have a lot of respect and a lot of love for Jeff, and I commend him. I just think that he needs to try to control the Brian Logan syndrome a little bit,
I got you.
and and try to be and try to think of himself on how it looks, how the outlook looks when if he's watching how he behaves in certain ways. I'm not going to go into detail.
Fair
It's
enough.
nobody's business, and it's just these little small things that I think he needs to work on. I
Yeah.
mean, Jeff's one hell of a talent, and he's definitely a future uh, superstar, if you want to call it. I call them main eventers.
There you go. Doing a lot of good for
Here,
the area
look
right
at this.
now too. Oh
Look
yeah.
at this. Look at
Old
I got
school
him up on my
baby.
shoulder. Yeah, and here a lot of people couldn't believe I can pick him up.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah, and here we're both dizzy, literally.
Looking like Gorilla Monsoon Muhammad Ali out there.
That's where I got it from.
That's what I
That's
figured. That's why I
exactly.
threw it out
That's
there.
exactly. That's why exactly where I got it from. And then I did a somewhat of a Rocky finish for Rocky 2
Okay.
here, where he's counting down the guy and he can't get up because he's so
Oh.
dizzy, and then he can't make it by the 10 count. But he's not knocked out. He's not pinned.
Okay.
You know,
Mhm.
he's just dizzy.
Yeah, you didn't
And
bury the guy.
Ronnie, no, it's not. And see, another thing, old school. You don't bury your competition. You got to leave your competition look strong. Even if you're finishing the program and you do the blow off, you've got to leave him stronger
Yep.
than anything else. And that's the whole point. And that's why I try to nail into these people. Now he turns around, he says, "Man," he says, "What was that? An airplane spin?" And then he say, "I'm telling him, I know that we were both being played by that boxing,
Okay.
a commissioner." And then he'll say, "Man," he's going to say, "You're cool." And I say, "Nah, I'm just rotten."
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and so it ends on a good note, and then he celebrated, and he's the hero of the day.
A happy
Didn't
ending.
embarrass the boxer, didn't bury the boxer, didn't take the dive for the wrestling, didn't make everything the way the promoter, the boxing commissioner thought, but it ends good for the boxing commissioner too. Here too, as you'll see, that Ronnie's going to go celebrate with these two women.
There you go.
So,
And I was even gonna say you even got a piece to tell in the lead up, so I think it was a pretty good week for Rotten Ronnie.
oh yeah, yeah, Ronnie living the life of what he wanted because he's a washed up wrestler.
Right on. Okay.
He's 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 on his way out. This is his last hurrah. There's nothing more, you
Gotcha.
know. And so he's leaving with the girls. And
Heck yeah.
Stephanie Drake is the other girl there, the redhead there. She used to work. She's worked for the FBI
Oh, okay.
and became an actor. And
Huh.
I don't know if she's been doing too much acting here lately, uh, but she was with the FBI. And Larry Orton's a retired person, and I told him he did right. He retired and he's doing acting to fill in the retirement. So
Heck yeah.
instead, I said, you could be growing a garden. Instead, you're acting. You're doing making movies and TVs. I said, that's the way to do it. And now everybody's going to file out of here.
Time for it. Oh.
You'll see the same. You'll see the same with the boxing commissioner here.
Okay.
Everybody have fun here. Everybody have fun,
Good.
And
And that's another cool thing. Like the West Virginia people that would never have a chance to be in a movie got to be in a movie, and there's not a whole lot of films coming out of West Virginia. So thank you for some sort of representation on the independent film level out here.
now he's sitting there saying, we tell him what happened. He's like, well, he said, it's not really a loss. He goes, sure, the boxer didn't, get humble, and Rotten Ronnie didn't get humiliated, but he goes, the fans were happy, and we made a lot of money. So, you know, he,
More than what most promoters care about. I know they care about the money, but they don't care if the fans are happy as long as they get their money. So he's better than you made
with
him
it,
out to be.
yeah, I made him look like, even though he was the real villain of the film,
Hmm.
but I still made it like where, even the villain can take a loss and realize he still won.
There you
He
go.
looked at it as a win-win situation. Like we made a lot of money. Sure, it didn't go the way I planned it, you know, but we made a lot of money and the fans were happy.
That's
And at the end of the day, that's what counts. And
there you go.
so even the bad guys win. See,
Okay.
Ronnie made it. Ronnie made a win-win for everybody all the way around.
Oh, you was at the
Yeah,
Diamond Plex. I know where you were. Okay, how cool.
yeah.
Okay.
That was the building there. I
Okay.
think they tore that building down because it was scheduled for demolition at one point. I don't know if it's still there now or not.
I'm not sure.
Now, the movie ends on a good note here. Like he's telling me, if you don't mind, I got something important I got to take care of for the special, very special, lovely lady. And you say, okay, you'll see what it is here. Yeah,
Okay.
the whole point is he had to become the greatest of all time because he made a promise.
Okay.
You know, and he got to keep that promise, and you're going to see what that promise is here.
Oh, now we got to give him the extra
And
sweet ending. Okay. Got the
well,
happy ending. Yeah.
He's in the cemetery, and he's talking to his mom in the cemetery,
I like it.
and he's made a promise to his mom. He'd make something of himself, and and that's what he's doing. Kept his promise to his mother.
All right.
Yeah, see,
So
it shows the human nature of Rotten Ronnie.
that's what I was going
He's
to say.
not really he's not really a rotten person at all. After all,
There
you
you.
see.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. After all the sleaze bag things we've been through, but
Now I filmed this in 2020, and then 3 years later, my own personal mother would pass away.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, she passed away in 2023,
Mm,
and December 8th, and you know. I don't know if this was premonition to something like that. I don't know when I wrote the story,
okay.
and but the story, all my stories has something that's nature to, like the Mountaineers about the mother, Box vs. Wrestler about the mother, seeing memory of Rotten Ron Starr, my mentor, and also memory of Shirley Love. I also dedicated the movie to both of them, and then but the memory, the like Legends Mountains about a daughter's connection with her father,
Okay.
you know, and so I mean, every movie, even I mean, Fly the Patsy, of course, that's self-explanatory. It's Oswald
Right on.
being framed for killing two people that he didn't kill, um, and I did all the research and everything, and it's the worst kept secret in the world.
So you might as well take your stab at it.
Well, listen, a lot of people have to understand there's so many people that benefited from JFK,
Okay.
and I'm not going to go too much into detail, but and it would to know the truth would bring down a foundation of a system of many different complex areas
Uh,
of oil businessmen to the intelligence community to the presidency, the presidential uh, presidency, seat and all that. It would just bring down our foundation if people knew the actual truth.
I'm loving
And
all the last names, by the way. The characters' last names, the Gagnes and the Crockett's and everybody. I appreciate that
yeah,
touch.
yeah, the characters I named them after wrestlers,
Uh huh.
after actual, after not real people, but that use the last names of real
Uh huh.
people.
I
And
noticed.
mhm. and I'm trying to pay homage to a lot of the traditional wrestling people, but this was a fun movie I had made, and uh, even though I did Wrestle Massacre, and I'm no way a horror fan.
Okay.
I think suspense thrillers are better than horror. Otherwise, I think if you watch Disturbia and watch that, you'll get more terrified watching the suspense in that than what you would by watching Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger or Chucky or Freddy's Nights Out, which is actually kind of based upon an
Yeah.
actual incident happened at a restaurant thing. So
Okay.
it's just crazy. And I mean, I think suspense thrillers is more scarier
I get
because
it.
because they're telling a story. You
Sometimes
what's
I
a
like
horror
to
movie?
turn my brain off and just watch people get cut up, though. So
Look. What's a horror movie? A horror movie is nudity, foul language, a lot of violence, and death.
let's go. On occasion, I
Okay,
need that release sometimes, Cuban.
uh, and I mean, it's like do people watch adult films for the story?
Yeah, right. Well, yeah. There you go. Kind kind of caters to my point as well.
The same thing. Why would people watch wrestling for the story? They're supposed to be watching for the matches.
Isn't
The
that the
matches
truth?
tell the story.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. And sex and adult film tells the story. In horror films, the blood and the gore tells the story. In suspense thriller, where you got to have a story to have the suspense and the shock and all value. Like I still think Jaws is not a horror film, even though people would consider that. But Jaws is a suspense thriller.
Okay, yeah.
And Jaws is still scary. And Steven Spielberg has so many things go wrong that he had to go from an Alfred Hitchcock perspective to tell his story. It's just that Steven Spielberg did it better than
Right.
Alfred Hitchcock
Right on.
with Jaws, and genius. And Steven Spielberg, another guy that's connected to the if you want to go with the other type of conspiracy, the alien connection or whatever you want to call it, because if you look at him, one of his first big movies after Jaws and all that was Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and then in the 70s, then in the 80s, he would do E.T., the extraterrestrial, and then he would be part of, he did AI, artificial intelligence,
Yep.
and he also did Minority Report,
Mm-hmm.
and then now he's got Disclosure. I look at Steven Spielberg as a different version of a Stanley Kubrick.
Okay.
And Stanley Kubrick was a master of post hypnotic, suggestive things, because he can put stuff in a scene and you not really realize that you're visually seeing something that enters the psyche mind.
Okay.
And the psyche mind, like you watch The Shining the first time, and the first time I watched Shining, I was like, that's an odd movie. Then I start thinking, I was like, wait a minute, was that movie about Indians?
Okay.
Because he had pictures of Native Americans and everything Native American all through that movie. Then I watched it again, and then I'm like, wait a minute, was he talking about the fake moon landing? Because there's stuff there about the fake moon, about the moon landing, and all that from the scene in the hallway in the room and all that. And then I start, and he had Tang instant, because Tang was used for the astronauts then, and that's how Tang came out, the powdered orange drink.
Okay.
And then I was like, what else is in there? And Shining is like a movie you'll end up, because the post-hypnotic suggestions are all in there. And then he made a maze inside that motel. He put a maze within a maze with no ends and no windows, and walking around corners and stuff. And you're like, wait a minute, that window, there should have been a window there, but there's no window there.
Uh-huh.
And then he even made the hotel manager, which was an actor named Barry Nelson, which is actually the very first man to ever play James Bond on film.
Okay.
Just so you know, and the only American to play James Bond, which was from Climax TV series, who bought the rights for Casino Royale, and they made it into a 1-hour program. And they had James Bond as a CIA agent, and had Felix Leiter as MI6, and Barry Nelson had made Barry Nelson look like JFK, and made him look just like JFK, and had him in these positions where Jack Nichol's sitting down like he had an erection. Okay. If you look at the tape, it looks like he has an erection. So he's telling secrets about JFK, and I'm like, he put everything in The Shining. The massacre of the Native Americans is in there. Mm-hmm. He put in the JFK conspiracy. He put in the Apollo moon landing conspiracy. He put in a bazaar of mazes within mazes, and he also put in Sheba, whatever, the Bantha female devil version into the movie for devil worshiping. And he also put in pedophilia in that movie and incest. Woo. Because the Jack Nicholson and his son, the character and his son, the whole thing is because of the incest, and the boy had these abilities. He also these telekinesis like abilities, and he had this little character talking to his finger like imaginary friend, which is actually his being a psychic, or you know, and and he would say red rum, which in the mirror
Mm.
is murder spelled backwards. It, Stanley Kubrick was a genius, and people don't realize he talked about everything. He predicted AI on 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
He had this the cameras, which now cameras everywhere. He saw this, and the cameras is AI, and he called it. Listen, he named that artificial intelligence. He named it OWL. And you look at the word OWL.
Yep.
You look at it closely. You look at it closely. It's AI.
Yep.
And then he had the monolith. And what's the monolith? Monolith is what we have in our hands all the time, the cell phone.
Okay. Hey.
He saw it coming.
Yeah.
He saw it coming. And he did the movie Lolita, which he talks about pedophilia.
Okay.
Okay. And he made, and his version is kind of comical because he had Peter Sellers in it.
Okay.
And it's serious but comical. And then he also did Full Metal Jacket.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you something. I was in the Marines. That boot camp training is as close as you're ever going to get having boot camp training on Marine Corps. And he also did something else. He did Eyes Wide Shut, talking about the secret societies and the cult. And he died. He died 666 days before 2001, right?
Okay. Huh.
So think about that. There's
we got third Clockwork Orange out there too. He predicted a lot of stuff with Clockwork Orange.
okay. Clockwork Orange is about MK Ultra,
Okay.
and it's also about Charles Manson.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, and Stanley Kubrick. I tell you, that's a man that should be studied in depth more to find out where he. It's almost like he had. Like he was a psychic and making predictions with his movies. And understand the guy that was his understudy, the guy who became a film director right after him, that learned from him, made a movie called Capricorn One. Do you know what that's about? Capricorn One is about a fake Martian landing.
Oh, okay.
Fake moon landing, fake Martian landing, Capricorn One. And then he got black after he did Capricorn One. That director got blackballed. And then not only did he get blackballed, but then when he got to come back, he ended up directing the sequel to 2001: Space Odyssey called 2010: The Year We Made Contact.
Okay.
And here's another thing interesting: with Barry Nelson being the first James Bond and the only American James Bond, and James Bond movie Diamonds Are Forever, which is not in the book if you read it, but James Bond is run from the bad guys, and they're showing a filming of a fake moon landing, which at that very time, they're having the moon landings, and they're showing the moon landings being faked on the studio. And James Bond's hiding behind a fake thing and running by the spacemen in the spacesuits and getting in this contraption, busting through the set to get into the desert.
Oh, neat. Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So why was that in Diamonds Are Forever?
All right.
So crazy.
You're going to get us put on some sort of list just talking about these things.
Yeah, I'm kind of breaking my promise to you, so I need to stop.
When WrestleRoni goes away for a while, it's
it's my fault. Everybody knows who to blame. Yeah, no, I don't want WrestleRoni to go. I actually like what you're doing, and I like your podcast series, and I like how you're unbiased and you don't stay subjective to one idea, one ideology. You look at the whole picture from a standpoint of view.
I try.
And like I said, it's not for me to say this or that. That shouldn't be here, because I look at the hardcore death matches. I think I told you before. I look at that as the horror for the horror fans of wrestling.
Right on. Yep.
Then you got your cartoon. You got your cartoon wrestling with the luchadors, and you got you got your serious wrestling. There should be something for everybody in different populations and different areas. Depends on, ECW was in a most violent place in Philadelphia.
Right on. Yep.
So it makes sense. And of course, the guy who had control Madison Square Gardens is the guy who won the wrestling war.
There you go. Yep. Hey.
Yeah, and he did it with cartoon wrestling.
It can be done with any wrestling. I like it all. I
Mhm.
really do. I like my lucha libre. I like my world of sport. I like Memphis. I like it all. I,
Mhm.
I want to see it all succeed in a perfect
Well,
world if they're doing it right.
on my shows, I'm going to tell you a little something.
Yes, sir.
My shows when I run is going to be kind of based upon world sport of wrestling. My cards. My match is going to be a 3 card match, like wrestling is based upon before in the past. Three acts: Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Match 1, Match 2, Match 3. My preliminary matches will be best 2 and 5 rounds.
Okay.
Okay, and then my second match is Australian rules tag team, but actual Australian rules, not just touching the body parts. That got to be open hand touch. You got to be heading the rope, the tag rope, and your both teams allow 1 save each. And that way, it forces the referee have to push back the baby face so the heels can work the heat
Okay.
like it's supposed to.
Right on.
Then intermission. Then it'll be a main event, American style wrestling, which would be 1 fall with a 60-minute time limit.
Nice.
And
Good.
then and the heavyweights are at the end, like it should be. The big guys should be at the end, and your preliminary guys are smaller guys. I'm only going to have 3 championships. I ain't going to have all the championship titles everybody's got.
Well, hey, when the day comes, I would love to talk to you about the upcoming cards. If you need me to promote the shows, whatever you need from old Spooky Lou, you
Oh,
know where to
you're
find
going to
me.
be you're going to be invited to the first show.
Let's go. I'm there. All right.
Yeah,
If you if you
you'll
if you
be you'll have you get to have your own table for WrestleRoni to sell your own stuff and everything and at the show, and you're going to be invited to the first show.
well,
That was already on my game plan.
I really
I was like,
appreciate it.
I got to have Derek there,
Let's go.
uh, so that way Derek can see what my idea of wrestling is, and of course I'm going to treat mine more like a legitimate sport. I'll be doing interviews inside the ring, not promos, interviews, not scripted. All interviews from both the loser and the winner of each match.
Okay.
So like, make it look more like more of a sport because I think wrestling needs to look more like a sport. Don't need to be a storyline every freaking match. That's why I can have a preliminary matches, and my preliminary matches are best 2 in 5 rounds. That means so both guys are going to be strong,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and so I mean everybody and I don't believe in squash matches. I hate squash matches. I think that's the most. I think you cheat the fans out of money with squash matches. I hated doing them when I was told to do them.
Okay.
I begged them not to just not do squash match because it doesn't make my character. It doesn't do my character any good. It doesn't make the card look any good, and we're just cheating fans out of their money when they come to see a good wrestling. I can make green guys look good. That's my job. That's my specialty. I can make green guys look good. I can work with them. I can work with anybody. I don't care if he's smaller than me. I don't believe in a squash match. I don't believe in that.
Good.
It's the wrong thing to do. Fans come to be entertained and they come to see a good match.
Yep.
I mean, a match that only lasts a few seconds and then 1, 2, 3.
You
And
got it.
that's another thing. They got too many 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
There's so many ways to do it, man. There's so many
There
ways to do
should,
it.
and yeah, but that's not for me to tell everybody else how to do theirs. That's just I'm doing mine a little bit differently, and if people want to see something a little bit older, nostalgia look back, they can come see my shows when I get them up and running. And I'm only going to do it a few shows during the summer, and that's it, and then do it that way, make it seasonal, give them time to miss it,
There you go.
and not take away from anybody else that's running shows down the road. Uh, because we all use the same wrestlers.
Right on. I love it.
And so everybody in my shows are going to look strong. So it ain't going to, they're going to, there's going to be meaning and purpose for all of it and everything.
Good.
Change into YouTube and search Cuban Assassin podcast. You can subscribe to me there. And I have a Rumble channel too. And you can watch my movies, Fly the Patsy, the Legends Mountain, the Cuban Assassins documentary, Boxer versus Wrestler. On those you can see the Mountaineer on Fossum TV and Tubi TV and Amazon Prime or Amazon Video. And you can also see Wrestle Massacre on Fossum TV if people want to check them out. There's a lot of other movies I can go on. The best way to find out the list of movies I'm on is to search my name in IMDb and you can see the whole list, and you can try to find them wherever they may be. Most of them is on Tubi. Most of them is on Fossum. So you can find them out there.
The links are in the description. You have no excuse, for real, Cuban. Thank you for representing West Virginia to the world, man. It's out there for the world to see for eternity. As long as those servers are
And if
up, it's out there, man. And there's not
and
enough representation from around here.
if everybody wants to get a hold of me, and they want to try to get one of my films, upcoming films, you can reach me at Mountain Man Productions at Outlook.com. That's capital N for Mountain, capital N for Man, and capital P for Productions at Outlook.com.
There you have it. Stay tuned to the Roni. Plenty more coming down the pike. Many thanks to the Cuban Assassin. Spooky Lou loves you. We'll do this again sometime. We'll watch some matches.